What's up, baby? What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Big news lately. One, I'm back, at least right now. Two, Daniel Klein, lead game designer, or one of the lead game designers at Respawn, has left and actually been terminated. We'll get into that today. Also, a new balance patch for Apex Legends, and Seer getting a nerf soon, and who knows what it is, who knows what it should be. We're going to talk about all of that in this video. Come on, guys, let's get into it. The first thing to get into is there has been a balance patch for Apex Legends that went live yesterday. So if you're playing today, you should experience these things. Obviously, there were Seer abilities that were a little out of whack. They fixed some bugs with it. They solved a script error that was sometimes triggered by an interaction between Fuse's ult and Watson's ult. But they're shipping out a balance patch that is now should be in the game, reducing the damage of the Prowler, reducing speed of ADSing with the L-Star, fixing some holes in the map, and raising the prices for the Prowler and the L-Star. In general, they're taking the reduced damage of the Prowler from 15 to 14, and they're also taking the speeds of ADSing with the L-Star down to a rate that feels probably a lot fairer, considering that the L-Star doesn't have a ton of innate ADS speed disadvantages because that weapon hasn't been a monstrous valuable weapon up until now. Right now, people are kind of saying the L-Star and the Prowler are some of the best weapons in Apex Legends, and so this is hoping to tune that in. I actually haven't played a lot of Season 10, but from what I've heard, from what the pros are saying, this definitely seems like they're in the right direction, especially for the way the Prowler is, specifically for controller. And that's where a lot of you may not realize. The Prowler for PC, effective, absolutely, but for controller, with the way aim assist works and the impact that the Prowler can have at close range, that's really where the majority of tuning. And you could check out tweets from a pro called TSM Snipedown. He will be talking, he's talked a lot about it, and that's one of the big keys that I think that Prowler needs tuning for, since the pro scene at the highest level definitely has some of the best teams in the world running controller players, and they're noticing that impact. Good things. They also promised that a buff will be hitting, a nerf will be happening for Seer next week in a quoted tweet of this, which was very, very important to remember. Seer will be getting a nerf. We don't exactly know when the nerf will be occurring for Seer, but we do know that sometime next week it has been planned, so stay tuned for that. We already knew that Seer was going to be strong. I already did a video saying why Seer is better than Bloodhound, why his interrupt is huge. All of these things have come directly into play and what people are complaining about being so strong about Seer. So we'll see what the plans are. Removing the interrupt would be a huge nerf. I hope they don't do that. That sounds like a huge nerf to something that is very different and new in the game, even though it's really powerful. Maybe there's a way to tune it down. The fact that he could see health bars is pretty strong as well. I mean, that is just massively strong. And overall, the abilities, the length, the distance, the oppressiveness that they provide really starts to feel like abilities are running Apex Legends versus gun skill, which we know isn't a design tenet of theirs. So I'm excited to see what they do with the nerf. No idea what it will be. You guys let me know what you think the best nerf for Seer will be in the comment section below. So now I want to read the Daniel Klein thread, but I want to catch you guys up on the situation and why Daniel lost his job to begin with, because it's one that you can kind of see coming, but then didn't happen. But then I was very surprised yesterday when I saw that it did happen, because it seemed like there was just going to be an avoidance of it, moving on, bygones be bygones. Essentially, Daniel had some things that he had said allegedly in online forums and in his youth that were racist and misogynistic, essentially saying things about women, about African people or black people that were derogatory and degrading. This was obvious if you read it or saw it. The only question was, is it Daniel? And it seems to have been clear that it's been Daniel. Obviously, the fact that he is now fired means that there's a pretty clear line that that was said by him, and he has admitted to saying those things. Obviously, this was shocking. No one expected that to be pulled out. And the reason it was pulled out is also very interesting as well. The person who exposed these things about Daniel was someone I've heard it was a teenager. I don't know exactly. I can't verify that. But it was someone who was interacting with Daniel who loved Apex Legends a lot. One of those negative Twitter interactions that Daniel had. And that kind of became the status quo for Daniel, speaking with pros and speaking with people anonymously online about Apex Legends balance. One of those players saw one of his tweets and thought that it was hypocritical to be acting all high and mighty when he wasn't being very nice, and that he wasn't really being as conscientious as, you know, he's acting basically holier than thou in terms of uh, a lot of the stuff during Activision Blizzard and all these standards of how to behave and how to treat women and how to blah, blah, blah. So this person said, okay, well, let me go dig up and see if you've ever done anything because you're acting like you're perfect. And he ended up finding these things, making a video about it, tagging some big Apex YouTubers that were covering news and leaks and stuff. And then that generated interest in the community. I watched the video. I saw the video because not only I wasn't tagged in it, but I just saw the people who were tagged and I follow some of them and I saw the video. So it was shocking to me. And it was interesting that it all came from Daniel and an interaction with someone on Twitter about Apex that didn't like the way he was interacting on Twitter, then went to go dig stuff up on him. I'm not saying that's what I would do. I'm not saying that that was the right thing to do, but someone decided, you know what? You piss me off on Twitter. I'm going to go dig stuff up about you and see if you're good or not and expose you. Then what ended up occurring was Daniel set up a Twitter apology saying, listen, I had some things come up that I said when I was young and dumb. I don't mean any of those things, blah, blah, blah. It was a very blanket kind of statement like that. There wasn't a huge amount of accountability, I think people felt. And it was looking like it was hoping to get brushed under the rug. Ultimately, people did not respond to that well, saying there wasn't accountability. This wasn't okay. We aren't satisfied with this response. But it ended up being left at that. There was a lot of quiet lately. There were then a lot of impersonators of Daniel that popped up around Twitter, impersonating him, basically tweeting out things of the things that he said, essentially negative statements, parody of the fact that, you know, these comments he made back as someone who was younger and ill-informed with bad ideologies, ended up running his now Twitter account as a parody saying, yeah, you know, don't like black people or whatever that looked like. It was essentially in that vein of, you know, I'm going to create an account based on Daniel that does like saying those things and kind of expose and keep bringing attention to the fact that those things were said by Daniel at one point in time, kind of trying to impersonate him. He got a few of those banned. Some still survived. That's essentially where we left it until today or yesterday for many of those, when Daniel Klein looked at his socials and you could see that it was game designer, previously Respawn, Magnopus, Riot Games. Because up until yesterday, he was actually a lead game designer, lead character designer at Respawn. Then you'll follow this change a few hours later, as many people were like, what is going on? What's happening? I don't know why does it say this change? This was trending. But most people are blocked by Daniel in the community. And so therefore, they couldn't read it. He ended up writing this. And so I'm going to walk you guys through this. And we're going to go into, you know, our discussion of it so you can see it. As of last Friday, I am no longer working at Respawn. I want to be very open and here and say that I'm heartbroken and depressed. It's been a very dark few days. You may or may not have seen the awful, bigoted things I said in 2007. I wholeheartedly agree that that guy should have been fired. I have poured so much energy into becoming a better person since then, and right now I'm just very depressed because it feels I'll never be able to make up for who I was. I said racist and sexist things, not because I deeply believed any of them, but because I knew I can get a reaction out of people. That does not excuse anything I said. The impact of my words was the same regardless of what I believed. I'm mentioning this because with the help of a lot of people who love me, in spite of the dookie head I was, sometimes I was able to make progress on the journey to becoming a better person. If my story can help one person out there in a similar position to see that there's a way to become better, it would at least serve a purpose. Again, to be clear, I'm not saying EA or Respawn did anything untoward. They were absolutely within their rights to terminate me, much as I may disagree with that decision. I wish I could take time to decompress, but that's not how my brain works. I have crippling anxiety, and if I don't at least start looking for a new job, that anxiety will eat me alive. If you know of anything that might fit my skill profile, let me know. Lastly, I'm truly sorry to the Apex team. This is a headache they did not need. I know what their future plans are, and I absolutely believe Apex has a bright future. There's so much cool stuff coming down the line. I just wish I could have worked on it. Anyways, if we know each other and want to talk, please hit me up. If we haven't talked before, please give me some space now. As you can see, there's basically no replies on this. Basically, people, Daniel's Twitter is set up because of the interactions he's had over Apex Legends in the community. Basically, no one can respond or even see this. So a lot of you will be seeing this for the first time. All right, there are a few things I want to take away from what Daniel said, and I think are important for the young people, the middle-aged people, the older people who watch me. Anybody who watches this channel, I think it's very important to get these two lessons. One, what you say in the world has an impact. What you say and do in the world has an impact that could be greater than you ever imagine. That goes positively and it goes negatively. So many of my followers, my viewers, are in these phases of life. And a lot of you are very mature, but there's some of you who aren't yet, where you believe anything that you can do. And so many people on the internet, it's not even my viewers, there's people on the internet. Most of my viewers are actually the exception to the rule. I'm not going to lie. So many people on the internet think they can do whatever they want, say whatever they want, just to get reactions. And what you're doing is you're taking your future self and you're punching them in the face. And you're crippling them to be able to be the best version of themselves. Because 20 years from now, when you say, you know what, I really do want to pursue this corporate thing, or I want to start working with these big brands, or, I do have this huge vision for my life, and I got a family, and now I want to create this really great, merchandise company and blah, 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 and go work with, have that be taken in by Vogue or Gucci and have them buy my, whatever it is, man, whatever vision you got. It could be H&M, want to buy your thing. All of a sudden, they go back 20 years ago, you piss somebody off because you're not treating people right. You piss somebody off, they go dig up some stuff you said back when you were wild and in your teens or 20s on Twitter, and the deal is canceled. Because here's the thing that you need to know, like Respawn, like EA, like all these other things, guys. They can get other people. Maybe they won't be as good, but I learned a long time ago, corporations have been working without the best people for a long time. The best people are all around. They don't necessarily work at EA or Microsoft or Apple. They have great, amazing people. But there's plenty of great, amazing people who don't work for them, meaning that you can be replaced. And if you live a life where you feel that you can't be replaced, whatever you say, who you are is way better than everybody else, you're going to get a wake-up call eventually. And saying things even like this, even for reaction, doesn't work out well for you. Okay, we got, I don't want to make this video too long, but I do want to talk about this. So I have two big things to remember. I don't know. I don't want this video to be too long, but I want to make a really important point around what has occurred. And I think that this is important for all viewers of all ages who are watching this video who care about what they do in their lives going forward. Because as a content creator, I have a responsibility to myself now and my future self. And that is something most people don't understand. People live for now and they don't live for their future selves. And some of the activities that you're doing right now are going to make your future self very unhappy with your life. Some of the ways you are behaving with people, some of the relationships you're either building or destroying, some of the words you're saying out loud in public, on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, whatever it is, on TikTok, they're going to make your future self very unhappy. If you could take words that someone wrote on who even knows what blog he wrote it on, and how many, it could be 15, 20 years ago, and that can get this man fired. At Apex Legends Season 10, after 10 seasons of being in this game, he can get fired for that? What do you guys think you're going to be able to get fired for in the future? You could say you probably already have done something you can get fired for in the future. Let's be honest. And you don't care because you think you're not living in a world where that's going to matter. But the news flash is you are. And I want all my people that's why I talk to you guys. I want you guys to look at me as an example, but I also want to say, be good to people and live in a good way so that your future self won't have to deal with you now and the mistakes that you've caused it. That's one. So many people ignore that your future self is paying for a lot of the silly things that you say. And a lot of people in this interaction with Daniel, even though Daniel was said these things, a lot of people interacted with him in a way that if those tweets weren't anonymous, you would be getting fired from your job. Let's be honest. We're really lucky that a lot of Twitter is anonymous. A lot of the comments are anonymous. Only a few people really go, this is me, this is my personality, here's how to find me and everything. A lot of people just had them, them profile pictures and they'd be talking. One. Two, goodwill, good people creates a good life. There's only one tenet that I've kind of followed over the course of my life, guys, and it's follow good people. And I work with people. I do business with people. I hang out with people that in my mind are good, that give me good. If anyone is living in that negativity, if anyone is living in the anger, the hate, the disgust, the annoyance, I don't become a part of it. And you guys know, I just don't engage in it. I don't engage in it on Twitter. It's not worth my time. Because in the future, when people look at who do I want to work with, when you're good to them, they say you. And so being good to other people, being good to yourself, it's not mutually exclusive. Being good to other people is good to yourself because people will want to work with you and raise you up when you raise them up. The other day I was listening to this lecture and they were talking about how the economic principle of giving someone $100 who's sitting next to you. You have $100. There's a person sitting next to you. You get to choose how much money you split. If the person accepts the amount of money you give them, $50, $30, $10, then you get to keep the rest. That person, though, if they say no to what you offer them, you get nothing, they get nothing. So either way, that person's getting money they don't have. So you economically should offer them $1, $2, right? The least amount of money because, hey, they're getting $2 when they wouldn't. Most people say no. You know why? Because you're not the type of person that they want to engage with. You're going to give me $2 and you're going to keep 98 like that's fair. Most people don't do that. They don't also want you to be getting ahead and them to be looking at you do it and get nothing. The version of what your life could be is if you become the person that says, hey, man, here's $80. I just take 20. I only need 20. But let's work together soon. That person is going to be like, what? Yo, take 50. Like, no. Don't take 60, bro. I'll take 40. That's fine. Like, you can, no. Take that 80. It's good, bro. We're good. I'm good. That's the type of person that when it's done and they say, okay, let's play again. Who wants to work with who? You do that in your life. Everyone is going to come back and say, hey, man, you gave me 80 before. I got 100 for you. And not even that, I got 2 other people that I want you to meet because they're going to love you. And that's how you build a life where people want to lift you up. Unfortunately, in the Apex community, some people are these contentious figures, and they're always tearing people down, tearing things down. And when it comes down to it, other people aren't going to want to play with them when they don't have to. And if you create a life where people want to play with you because you're good to them, you give. You actually don't expect more than you give. Then you end up getting a lot more in the end. And if you don't, it's okay because you're not expecting, you're not doing it for that. But that's the point I'm trying to make. Daniel, if he went wrong in one way, it has nothing to do with what he did in his past. We all know that was wrong. I don't know how long a person should pay for past mistakes. I certainly have seen my fair share of people pay way too long for past mistakes. And I don't know how long you would want to pay for a past mistake. You have to ask yourself that question, honestly. But what Daniel had was a community that didn't want him in charge. Vocally. It might be a minority, but it was a public, vocal minority that had a lot of following. And the fact that that happened is the reason people dug this up and created this opportunity. And so if anything, it's a lesson on how to treat people with the benefit of the doubt, treat people like you're not invincible, like you want and like and need them, because we really do need each other. And hopefully stuff like this doesn't come up for you, because I don't think there are people who are well liked, that people want around and want to succeed, that people go hard to try to dig so much stuff up on and make a whole, run to get them out. That's just my 2 cents, guys. I hope you all learn from this. I want to hear your thoughts, though, in the comment section below. Did Respawn get this right? Did Daniel deserve this? Did he not deserve this? Also, what are your thoughts on the things I said at the end? Because I think those are important conversations we need to have in the gaming industry, for how we treat each other, for how we do on Twitter, for all these crazy things that we do in the gaming industry, how rude we are to each other, so many capacities. And just what it means to grow up and get start being an adult as well as someone who's in the gaming industry, not just a kid who just says whatever. Because I think a lot of people interact like that. So you guys let me know what you think about all those topics, and I appreciate you guys. We have a Seer interaction video coming up soon, and who knows what I'll bring this week. So make sure you stay tuned, subscribe, follow, and as always, guys, never give up, never stop gaming. I'll see you guys in the comments.